Everybody, I'm excited to be introducing Module 8's film, E.T., the Extraterrestrial, which in my opinion I love Steven Spielberg. I've shown so many of his films in my classes, from Jaws to The Color Purple to Bridge of Spies, but I feel E.T. is his masterpiece. It is just a brilliant film, and it was one of the most successful films until Titanic came around in 1997. It was the largest box office draw, and it's just a brilliantly made, affecting, poignant drama fantasy, which we're going to talk about. Because this week the PowerPoint was based on my own thesis in graduate school, and my thesis was on how in the 1980s there was a lot of portrayal of the nuclear family, and the nuclear family defined as mom, dad, 2 kids, 1 kid, 3 kids. But in the 80s, by the time we got around to the 80s, we couldn't do family portrayals like you would see in the old show, The Brady Bunch, or other sitcoms, where mom and dad take care of the kids and they solve the problem of the family in 22 minutes and everything's great. By the time the 80s come, we have to redirect how we look at families. The divorce rate by the late 70s, early 80s is through the roof. Most households are run by single parent families. In some cases, it's even men. It used to be traditionally the woman who was the nurturer, but a lot of films in the late 70s, early 80s, Kramer versus Kramer, Ordinary People, start to show that the man can be the nurturer. So that's coming into being now. It's not gender specific anymore. Also, there's the single parent home. There are children that are latchkey children that come home and there's no parents there until they come home from work. Psychology comes into being. That's one of the themes of the clip you saw from Ordinary People. If you do have a problem, you don't solve it by mom and dad often. You may have to be put on medication. You may have to go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, so they can better help you resolve problems. Things that we do now when we look into mental health. All this is kind of coming into being of portraying the family in the 80s. And that's what I wrote my thesis about. So E.T. really falls into this, because when people think of E.T., you probably know the story now. Of course, an abandoned alien is befriended by a young boy, Elliot, in a suburban California town, and they bond, and their goal is to try to help E.T. return home, because he's been abandoned temporarily by his alien family and cohorts, and they want to get him picked up and returned home. So that theme of home is there. But really what's going on in E.T. that a lot of people, when they first watch it, they might just think it's a fantasy, don't realize is Steven Spielberg was attracted to the script because he came from a divorced family. He had a lot of siblings, and at heart, this movie is about a young boy overcoming the devastating effects of his dad leaving, a divorce on the family, and E.T. kind of is a father figure. You can call it a sibling figure. E.T. helps Elliot overcome this, and really, by the time you get to the conclusion, he teaches the family how to say goodbye and move on, and we know they're going to be okay. Even though it's poignant, it's sad, we know they're going to be okay. That's really what this film is about, and I want you to watch that in a lot of scenes. There's a scene at the beginning of the movie where they're all eating dinner, and Elliot reveals that dad is in Mexico with his new girlfriend, and mom is surprised about this. We really see the effects of one family member not being there affecting the rest. We do see Drew Barrymore in an early role. She's terrific as Gertie in the film. Some things just to note. Again, you probably know this film very well, and I think it's worth watching again to think about it from this aspect. But Spielberg brilliantly is conveying this film from a childhood view, a child's point of view. Most of the shots are low from that angle, and also, except for Mary, the mother, most of the adult characters are shot below the waist, so they look intimidating. You're really seeing this movie. It's brilliantly directed by Spielberg. I'm biased. I love Spielberg. But he's really showing you a childhood view, a child's point of view of this. I hope you enjoy E.T. I'm excited about reading your reaction. I haven't shown it in over a decade, so I'm glad to be sharing it again for Module 8 when we talk about the 1980s and portrayal of the nuclear family.